Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Daniel Hood Roofing. When it's time for a new roof, go with the team that has the most training, the most awards, the most honors, and the most testimonials from your neighbors right there on their website. That's Daniel Hood Roofing. Call them today. They have somebody standing by, and take advantage of their basketball season discount, Daniel Hood Roofing, and danielhoodroofing.com. All right, back with Ryan Callahan, David Ubben, Justin Hamilton, Chuck Cavaleris. These two already said wave that wand. I want to ask Chuck and Ryan. We'll go to Vegas, Chuck, here in a second. Let's start with Ryan. If Tennessee could wave a wand and guarantee one national championship, would you do that, or would you say no? You're in position now in the SEC 12-team playoff. You may win more than one the next 20 years. Let's roll the dice. You waving the wand or rolling the dice?
I'm waving the wand.
I can't talk anybody into it.
I know you love the repetition on this, but no, I think it's a no-brainer. You're basically saying, is this going to be a program that can turn into a juggernaut and win multiple titles? That's just so hard in this day and age. And as David talked about, the 12-team playoff only adds to the level of difficulty, the randomness you might see once you make the playoffs. So even if Tennessee is a team that can make, say, 5, 6, 7 playoffs in the next 20 years, you're still taking that one national title. I think it's a no-brainer.
Chuck, what are you doing?
Well, can I Cavaleris the question?
Here we go. When don't you?
What is the time frame? Is it 20
years?
No, not 1 in 20. I think we can have more sustained success over 20 years. I'm serious.
You're just playing the game.
Now,
you're
10
just trying
years,
to give me another
no,
voice.
I mean, I'm going to roll the dice, baby. I'm going to say 7-11. Daddy needs a new pair of shoes.
You would really think Tennessee could win multiple national titles?
I think you could be in the mix for that, yes. But what if it was like 19 years away and you're 20-year waving your wand thing? No, let's look at more of the short term.
Well, what if I told you could put it right in the middle? 10 years from now, you win the national title.
That makes it tough.
Isn't it amazing how much one 11-win season has changed this
That's
conversation?
Yeah. I think that's the thing that we've learned in the last 15 years is that success at Tennessee is a lot more tenuous than I think people would like to believe. That it can go sideways in a hurry. You know, again, we've had the Josh Heupel conversation, all that stuff. We talk about you got your generational QB in the NFL. We'll be fine forever. Things change.
Yep.
Life can change in a hurry for a college football program. Life comes at you fast. You don't know.
Well, again, Tennessee. After 98, everybody's thinking it's going to be great. I mean, there were people thinking, gosh, we're going to be even better in 99.
Right.
Most people and then you lose 3 games the next year. You look at Georgia. 20 years ago, everyone would have laughed at Georgia. Multiple national titles? What are you talking about? Because they just hadn't done it since 1980. They didn't look like it. Now, in hindsight, everybody's going, oh, best job in college football. Look at the recruiting and everything else. You know, that stuff does change quickly. But here's the thing that's interesting. Let's take a look at Andy Staples, the writer who came up with this. He put out 16 teams. He went from 16 to 16. Now they're going to a 12-team playoff. Who should roll the dice that could win multiple in the next 20 years. And next to last on that list, Tennessee. So, would you tell your coworker, Andy Staples, he needs to be a little less bullish?
I would take Penn State off that list. I would take Wisconsin certainly off that list, and Tennessee off that list, and probably Oregon. All the others, I'll say you could do it in theory.
I don't know about Auburn.
Auburn is the cutoff for me, but considering we've seen them get close / do it within the last 10 years, it's kind of like, well,
let's leave it
proof of concept.
Let's leave it up there for a second, Justin. Your thoughts on that
There's 2
list?
schools that I'm leaving on that list. It's Alabama and Georgia. I'm taking the rest off.
I'd put Ohio State on.
Maybe. And but I look at it, and maybe it's recency bias for me, but those are the 2 who've done it.
Right.
They're the 2 who've done it.
Oklahoma coming to the SEC.
Florida did it in 2008, so they did it somewhat recently. I think their program's in the wrong direction. But here's the thing I think's interesting. If you're giving Oklahoma that kind of a bounce, how is Texas not on there?
Right.
Coming into the SEC. Now, granted, I know Oklahoma's been in the mix more recently than Texas and been to more playoffs than Texas. But just past year, Texas was better than Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. I don't know. To me, I don't know that I'd have Oklahoma on there or Texas. But if they're either both on or both off, in my view.
So because Texas, the question has sort of been for a long time. Well, you get the right guy in there, they're going to be back. Yeah. But the one thing about Texas people overlook is if you look at the totality of their history, the MAC run of 10 years in a row, or 9 years in a row of 10 consecutive wins is an outlier, actually, if you look at them historically. Oklahoma's been way better than Texas historically.
Yeah.
And it's been a long time since Vince Young was the quarterback
Yeah.
that helped you win that.
I think people, when you talk about Texas, people think about like that run that MAC had as like the standard, but it's like that has not been the standard ever at Texas. That's a outlier.
Well, the trick is, people, if you look at, if they win one, then everybody's going to say, oh, that's the best job in the country, because look at the talent base, look at the money they've got. They've got a lot of stuff going for them at Texas. Now,
I'm a big Georgia guy.
They
in
got
terms
Texas
of best
A&M.
job. I think there's too much competition in the state of Texas to really say, well, you can just dominate.
I think Georgia and Ohio State are the two best in terms of
Yep.
without having any competition in your
Yes.
state. But I'm just telling you, let Texas win one, and everybody's going to talk about this is the premier job in the country because you got everything. You got all the money, you got everything else.
I think the other reason you take the one, I think there's going to be more competition for national titles over the next 20 years than there was over the previous 20 years. But fewer powerhouses that stay up there for long hauls because of NIL.
That's
think
what I
that
was going to
levels
say.
things out.
So many of those brands, the names we just saw, those brands were built when the football landscape was entirely different
Yeah.
than it is now.
six games on TV a week.
Right.
We're seeing 15, 20 teams sign top level players, and that gives you a chance to compete for championships.
And don't forget about Colorado.
Yeah, put Colorado on this.
Colorado was the last first-time winner of the nationals since 1990.
Needed a
You haven't
fifth down.
had a first-time winner since 1990. So it is those power teams that pretty much stay in there. So we'll see if people like the genius down at Ole Miss can get the Rebels a national title. and that kind of stuff.
TCU on that list?
Yeah, that's right. They're not on there. All right, very good, guys. I appreciate it. When we come back, why would a football coach prefer the NFL game to college? I'm going to get Justin's take on that. And we got a little breaking news. Come on back on the Sports Source.
Miss an episode? Catch up at sportsource.tv or our YouTube channel.